Hey everyone, thanks for joining today. We got our knowledge transfer webinar. We're going to be going over the new inventory audit functionality, which is currently in limited beta. So if you have not had a conversation yet with customer success or your account representative, and you'd like to engage with this functionality, drop us a ticket off of the website, which I'll show you in a second, or you could also reach out and email one of us. You can also do that by reaching out to us at value@connectsx.com. Those are all good ways of getting in touch. And then, if we aren't the right person, we can put you in touch with the right person to help you get that functionality enabled. So while we're waiting on people to join, give it a minute or two, I will start this webinar the way I always do by sharing my screen and showing you a few helpful resources. They are all located on or you can access them by going to our website, which is not the console website. It is ConnectSx.com under the resources section. So first, if you just click the resources section, we have our support portal. All of this information can be found here. We have options for you to submit a ticket, reach out to us in a few other different ways like chat and email. Submitting a ticket will be probably the best way to get in touch with us if you're having an issue or a question that you can't answer. The reasons for that are it will get surfaced to our entire support team and customer success team at once. So everyone will get that notification and know that you need support. If you just reach out to one of us, we're usually pretty good about responding, but you are then, waiting on one person to see their email as opposed to a whole team. So that'll be the best way to get in touch with us. You can just click there to create a support ticket. The other resource I wanted to point to, or the next resource, is our knowledge base, which we have a ton of resources that we keep releasing weekly into this knowledge base. It has tons of articles. These are just categories, but you can search for whatever you're looking for. So let's say I wanted to see anything about the new audit functionality. And here we have our new article directly about that listed at the top. So this is a good place to go if you have any questions, you want to try to answer them yourself, or to learn more about how to utilize ConnectSx. If there's a part of the system that you're using or that you're not using and you'd like to learn more about it, so you could start leveraging it for your company, you can probably learn what you need to know in here. Also, if you find a gap, if you are looking for some information and you don't find it in here, I want to know about that. So reach out and let us know, and we could write an article about whatever subject you're looking for. And then also we can get that question answered for you by reaching out. And then the last one is the webinar section. And if you're here, chances are you found this one way or another. But here we have our webinar schedule listed out. So you can come here and get registered for all these upcoming webinars. We have our office hours webinars where we tune in for a half hour just every time we do it to allow you to drop in and ask any questions you might have. Typically, the person hosting that webinar, whether it's me or someone else, will go through some different aspects of the system, some critical tasks or functionality that most people need to know about to make sure we're utilizing that time. But the purpose of it is your questions. So those will get surfaced to the top if anyone asks a question. And then our knowledge transfers, like the one we are doing today, where we cover specific functionality that we announced beforehand. But our two upcoming for January and February do not have a chosen subject yet. So if you have a subject you'd like to see us cover, please reach out to us, drop us a line by submitting a ticket, like I mentioned, or email us at value@connectsx.com, and we'll do that webinar as long as it's within our means to do so. So please check all that stuff out. These are great resources, and it'll keep you up to date on what's going on within the ConnectSx ecosystem. But by now, everyone should have had a chance to join, and we'll get started. So I'm just going to switch over to ConnectSx here. And today we are talking about how to use the new limited beta inventory audit functionality, which if you have it turned on, it'll show up here under the inventory navigation. If you don't have it turned on, you won't see it at all. So if you're not seeing it, let us know. We can work on getting it enabled for you, and you can join the limited beta. So the first step in utilizing this function is to assign an audit to one of your users. The whole idea behind this is how to request from your users an inventory audit that will result in you getting counts of what their inventory is out in the field. So we set this up here in the audits screen. You can see all of the audits that we've already created here, whether they're completed, maybe they're overdue, whether there's a discrepancy, etc. And if you want to click into one and see its detail, you just click on the little eye. And to create a new one, we'll click New Audit up here in the right-hand corner. So the first step is just to select who you're asking to perform this audit, which I will pick my other sales account. Then select the manufacturer. So I'm going to do Acme Corp. And then you have a few options for what you're going to ask them to count. So we have the first option, which is request container or device count by catalog number. So this will allow you to select specific catalog numbers that they will then go in and count those specific ones. The count will reference all inventory in their custody, whether it's in a container or outside a container. However, it will not specifically ask them to audit the contents of a container. So, you'll see a catalog number. It'll ask them to count that catalog number in its entirety within their inventory, whether it's, the loose items or the container items, but it won't say, tell me what's inside container 001. If you want to do that option, pick the next one down, which is request inventory count by containers. And so this will ask them specifically to audit what is inside the containers that you select. And then the most holistic option is request a full inventory count. So as it says, it will request all the inventory that the ConnectSx system already shows to be in their custody. For ours today, we are going to do just select some catalog numbers so that we don't end up with too many records that I have to do live here on the call. But then you're just narrowing down, looking at your product lines, and then selecting, or not looking at your product lines, it's an option, selecting the catalog numbers that you want them to audit. So I'm just going to select a few for us here so we can demonstrate the example, and then click Next. And the first thing is to select the email that you'd like this notification to go to. So which rep or which email will the rep or distributor see that will let them know they have a new inventory audit, because this will send an email notification to them. And then you can modify the subject line at your leisure, but then you have to enter a due date. So when do you want the user to complete this by? Then the reply to email. So this is going to default to the email that is attached to your account, but you're welcome to modify it. And then this is an interesting question you have to consider. Do you want your user to see what you're expecting them to have? So on the audit and as well on the export of the audit data, it'll show them what the quantities are expected to be. However, sometimes when you're doing this, you want users not to be looking at that, so they won't be, possibly inclined to make their count closer to the number that you're expecting. So going in blind is one way to just get raw data without, any potential that, it could be skewed by that type of inclination. But they always, I guess, could go in their system, in their account, and look at what their inventory shows it to be. So it's up to you if you want that to show up on the inventory audit. I'm going to go ahead and leave this one blank. So this will be a blind audit. And then make any adjustments you want to the message body. You can provide additional instructions here to them, context about why you're doing an inventory audit, whatever pertains. So then we'll click create. And here you can see we have the audit request created with the items that we selected. It shows for us the quantity that is expected to be there because we are in an admin account. And then it'll trigger an email to them, like I mentioned, of the inventory audit. So this is just an example of what one of those will look like. So this user has received this, asking them to audit these catalog numbers. And they can even click the link to go to that page in their account. So I'm going to, and then you can also leave a comment if you need to. So, maybe I'm going to mention this user and just say, need this inventory audit completed ASAP. So you also have the option of leaving comments here. So like I said, I'll log out and go into my sales user account so we can enter some counts. There we go. And so I'll go to the same section under inventory, go to audits. And here I can see the new audit that was sent to me. So I'll click on the I to pull up the inventory audit page. You can filter between containers or loose items. So here I see, what they want me to count. And as a rep or a distributor, maybe I'll download the CSV. So I have a count sheet that I can print out of what I'm supposed to be counting. So I'll just do that real quick so we can see what that looks like. Here we go. We'll switch my screen share. And so here you can see these are the catalog numbers we're requesting. Nothing is in quantity expected. Nothing's showing here in quantity on hand yet because our counts haven't been entered. So they can use that to go through, print it out, whatever they need to do, use that to actually execute their counts. And then once they've done that and they've counted their devices, they'd come in here and next to the corresponding catalog number, they'd click the plus button. And that allows them to enter a group ID, which is kind of like a lot or a count batch. Maybe they are counting these on different dates. And so they want to make the group ID a date. But I did kind of like an example of a lot here. Then they'll enter their count, click the checkbox, and you'll see we're now allowed to enter additional batches for the count that will all roll up to this total. So for this one, I'm gonna just enter a different number. We'll also put 10. So now our count is up to 20. So you would just go through and do this for any of these items. You are not obligated to enter a group ID. So if there's no lot, no problem, just skip that. And then you cannot actually enter a quantity of 0 into a count, but anything not entered will show up and register as a 0 in the audit. So I'm just going to leave these bottom two blank. They'll register as zeros, and if I'm supposed to have anything there, they'll show up as discrepancies. All right. So once I have my counts done, I will hit save. You can see it's not submitted yet, so I can come back and finish my counts at a later time. But if I am really done, if there's nothing else to count, I'll hit submit. So that will trigger the submission and send an email back to the user who requested it. So if I go here, oh, no, that's the mention. Not that one. How about this one? Here we go. The user that triggered this audit will get this email notification letting them know that the counts have been submitted. So if we go over to the audit screen in my admin account again, I'll quickly log in here. Head back to the audits. There we go. You can see my audit has had its counts submitted, and yes, unfortunately, we do have a discrepancy we're going to have to deal with. So I'm going to open up the details, and here I can see the quantity that's expected. I can also see the discrepancy. So, as well as the quantity counted. So at this stage, I need to just reconcile these counts. You know, if I believe in them and there's no question of needing a recount, I can go ahead and add inventory or remove inventory accordingly. But if I need a recount, I could go trigger another audit and ask the rep to count again. So I can export a CSV as well. So I can get an export of my results. So just to show you what that looks like, it looks pretty similar to the section we were looking at before, except this column's not there. So you'll have the catalog number, the container, if it's required, the lot, the quantity that was expected, and then the quantity that was actually counted will show as quantity on hand. So at that stage, I'd like to put in a variance column and subtract what's there from what was expected, telling me what I need to do. Or actually, I guess it would be vice versa. The quantity expected from the quantity on hand. No. I had it right the first time. The quantity on hand from the quantity expected. And then this will show me what I need to do to make my account match reality. So if I'm expecting 3 devices to be there and they only counted 1, and I believe that count, then I need to remove 2. So from that point, I would go back to my inventory account or my ConnectSx account and go to inventory. And for any of those items that we have a positive variance where I need to add inventory, I would just create inventory however my organization usually does. So again, you could click new inventory to add it manually. We've gone through this with you if you've been trained in ConnectSx, and it's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm not going to go through creating all the inventory right now, but this is always an option and probably one of the easier ways to do this. Or you can use the CSV that was exported as a basis for creating an inventory import and create your inventory that way. So those would be the ways to go through doing the positive variances. But if you have negative variances, then what I would suggest, you could always go manually deactivate inventory, but most of us don't like that option because it doesn't really leave a great paper trail. And doing an audit, especially from a quality and regulatory perspective, you like to have an audit trail. So what we like to do is do a stock adjustment. So I'm going to go create an event and select stock adjustment as the event type. And then I can reference, inventory audit reconciliation for Acme Sales 2. That's the username that we were using. And then maybe I want to put the date too. So you can reference and add context to what this adjustment actually is. So you'd be able to then go over to the audits and find those results and understand, that's why I was doing these inventory adjustments. So the event date is today. I'm not going to associate any containers to this one, but now my event has been created. And the next step really, if I want to, again, put in comments, I could do that. Maybe I'm going to tag the sales user. So I'll do Acme. Oh, I'm clicking in the wrong field. This is to add comment recipients, which actually this is a new feature as of today, I suppose, where you can add other users to be notified every time a comment is added. So without having to mention them on every comment, this way they get notified on every comment that's left on an event, regardless of whether they're mentioned. So useful thing here. Otherwise, I will leave a comment. I can mention my user, Acme Sales 2. Apologies for my typing. There we go. Leave the comment. But yeah, the next step is to just mark the inventory as used, essentially, that we need to remove. So without having to go back and find the data from that actual audit and just playing with, the hypothetical that we have here, let's say that I need to remove 5 of this item, 5 of that item, and 5 of that item. So my items are selected just like they would be in a case. I just put in the quantity that was on the variance. So all of these are too high by a quantity of 5 versus, what's in reality. So we're going to consume 5 of each device. There's our selected inventory, and I'll mark them as used. And so now the event is showing all this inventory to be consumed out of the account. And if we ever need to go back and find out, why did all this inventory get removed, we have the context in the inventory audit title. And then any comments that we may have added also provide that type of context. So then I just complete the event and that inventory will get removed. Success. So our inventory has been adjusted. And I can always go back and take a look at what was actually done. And so if I go back to my inventory audit page now, I can click on this audit, and I know these numbers won't match what we just did. Printing out the CSV and using that as a reference is probably your best bet when you're making the adjustments. But once you're all set and your inventory has been adjusted according to the audit, you can hit complete, which will signify to anyone who's looking that this audit has been dealt with. The results have been processed, and now there's nothing remaining to do. So that is the long and short of the inventory audit functionality. I hope you think it's cool and interesting and valuable because we also think it is. It's just creating a new way of communicating with your field reps and streamlining that communication around a particularly tough subject, which no one really wants to do inventory audits, and sometimes it's like pulling teeth getting people to do them. But hopefully embedding it within the system makes it easier and makes it a little bit more transparent. So if you have any questions, I don't see any yet, please drop them into the chat. I'm just going to check my notes and make sure I've hit all the major bullet points. looks like we're good. So yeah, I will just wait, maybe 15 or 20 more seconds. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll make sure to address those before we end this call. All right. Well, hopefully I covered all the bases and you don't have any questions, but if let this kind of percolate and you find that later on you do have a question or a request or, you wish it would work a different way, let us know. We'd love to hear all of that. We want to know about how to make the system better, as well as what you're liking, what's working well. So, it may not sound like a big deal to you to let us know that kind of stuff, but it's really helpful for us because we're constantly improving the system, and letting us know what works is a good way to ensure that you see more of what works. So drop us a line if you have anything else to say, and otherwise tune into our next webinar, and I'll see you there probably. So take care. Have a good rest of your day.